I think we're good. Okay. I'm leaving that in the open, dude.
That's got to make the open. Yeah, absolutely. The golf clap from Discord.
Oh, gosh. Well,
A little look behind the curtain. Why not?
look behind the curtain and a little look into our lives and a little listen to A Lot About a Little. Welcome to A Lot About a Little, episode number 16.
Hello.
Hello. My dad says whenever I answer the phone, I always answer it the same way. I say, hello, and then everyone makes fun of me for that. So I'm going to try and stay away from that in the episode.
You just say hello when you answer the phone?
Hello. What do you say when you answer the phone? Goodbye?
I say, hello, this is Reid.
You do not say when everyone calls. So when I call you, I pick up the phone. I say hello, and then you say.
Well, no. Like, if it's caller ID, like, I'll just say hello. But if it's a number that I don't know, I'll say, hello, this is Reid.
Hello, this is Logan. I'm going to just start saying that now. Every time you call me, I'll be like, this is Logan. That's how I answer the work phone now. I say, this is Logan. I don't even say hello.
I don't call you that often.
I know. No one calls me.
Like, ever.
I know. I have to just call myself with the home phone.
You have a home phone? No, I would say there's no way, right?
No, I don't.
Some of my neighbors do.
Yeah, well, my grandparents do, and, they have the rotary phone where you stick your finger in.
No, they don't.
They do. We already talked about the rotary phone once on this episode. We'll have to
Oh, yeah, they have.
interject the clip
right.
a little bit in there. But
insert clip here.
Yeah. Well, welcome to A Lot About a Little. We are on episode number 16. And today, last week we talked about burnout, and Reid made an awful joke about his four-wheel drive car.
Yeah. That was a good one. I liked it.
Well, this week we're not talking about burnout anymore, but we are talking about work some more in the creative industry. Both Reid and myself are members, newly found members, well, me more so than you, of the creative
You make it
field.
sound like we're part of a union or something. We're just...
Well, Creative
finally
619,
adulting.
Like Rey Mysterio, 619. Or wait, no, that's Miami? I don't know.
I don't know.
San Diego, maybe?
Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305.
Call me Mr. Worldwide. No, not the Rey Mysterio. Anyway, we're both part of the creative field, and today we're going to talk about aspects of our jobs that were different than we thought they would be when we started. And
yes.
So I guess I want to preface this conversation by saying I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for my job. When I started, I kind of just, there was an opportunity that I pounced on,
Pounced?
Well, that's the word that I chose, pounced on.
Are you a cat?
Well, meow. Yeah, that's more of
boy.
a Gary. That's my Gary the Snail impression. But anyway, I didn't really have a whole lot of expectations because I've never had like a full-time job before, and I mean I knew what aspects of the job existed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I should start off by saying that what I do, my title, digital content creator.
Yeah. Can I guess what you do?
I create content. Is that what you're gonna say?
I would say you create digital content.
Oh, well, yeah, that would be accurate. I create
not just any content, digital content.
Well, yeah, essentially create digital content for university, and it's a lot of video editing. Basically, it's not necessarily like graphic design, but more so video content, motion graphics, things of that nature.
Mostly for social purposes.
Mostly social and marketing purposes. Right? We're in the marketing and communications office of our university, and essentially what I do is create videos. And I knew that going in to it. Things that I wasn't prepared for. Well, I guess maybe we'll talk about what you do first, and then we can go into it, just so we can preface this discussion a little bit.
All right, got it. So my title, if we're going off of that, is I am a creative services assistant. So I do graphics, video, motion graphics, a little bit of photography, like general creative needs for a minor league baseball team.
Okay. And that's all. That's okay. And so, what's your title then? Your official
creative services assistant. Did you miss that part? Because you were adjusting the audio. I'm going to call you out.
No, Reid. I was paying attention very, very closely. And so you worked for a professional hockey team.
Baseball.
I see. I was testing you to see if you were listening. Okay.
Yeah, okay, go on. Yeah, okay. Can't sneak that past me, Logan.
And so, like, on your day-to-day, what is it looking like?
Well, in season and out of season it changes, but in season, it's if the team's in town, it's making all the creative stuff that we need for the game. So updating like statistic graphics, things like that, and then making sure that we have all our graphics we need to fulfill sponsorship needs, along with videos, making videos for social media, making videos for promotions, TV commercials, social graphics for in-stadium use, signage, sponsorship stuff, a lot of that stuff.
Okay. And so I guess then that can lead into my differences.
Yeah.
Now that we got those clerical things taken out of the way of this discussion. Parts of the job that I found different.
Yeah.
I was pretty familiar with working at the radio station and stuff. I was very familiar with their content creator. And when I left, I basically said, I am going to become you at the other place. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm going to become you at the other place. And essentially that's what that was. But I wasn't prepared for, like, the amount of creativity that I have to have, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I know this is the creative field and stuff, but, like...
I didn't know I had to be creative.
Well, I mean, I knew that, but like, there's a lot of different aspects of things to consider that I never really considered. And there's just a lot of different things, and a lot of like, and the pace, I think, would be the other thing. Is like there's always more things to do, and so as soon as you finish one thing.
You're on to the next one.
You're on to the next, and it doesn't really slow down. I mean, for you, I would imagine when you're not in season, it's, I don't want to say slower, but maybe a little less busy than all the game day stuff that you guys have to do. Is that accurate?
I mean, now that we're into the off season, like the last big thing we do for each season is we make all of our sponsorship POPs or proof of performances, which are essentially just a document that shows a sponsor, like all of the stuff that they signed in their deal, like in action, essentially.
Okay.
So if a brand, pays X amount of money for an outfield billboard on the outfield wall, like we will show a photo of that, or if they have a video that plays during the game, we'll show them a photo of that, things like that. So if they can't make it out to games throughout the season, they can still see that essentially we're holding up our end of the sponsorship contract they signed. So that's like the last big thing we do for each year. So there's about 200 of those that we had to do.
Is that pretty standard for like across the board? Like, do all teams do that, or is that something specific to what you guys do?
I would imagine it's pretty standard. I mean, I assume, looking at it from the company's perspective, if I'm paying, a large sum of money to sponsor with a team, I want to make sure that they're doing what I want them to. I'm almost certain it's universal across sports that, sponsors are getting some sort of proof of performance to make sure that teams are delivering on their end of what they want to do. So
right.
But after we get those done, I mean, now we're done with those. We're kind of in a little bit more of a lull period where, we still have stuff to do. It's a lot of like ticketing stuff right now. So like redesigning like our ticket books that we sell, our like ticket stock, suite books, things like that, smaller projects like that, which isn't a ton. I mean, there's some new designs for that, but a lot of it is just updating years from stuff prior. So it's expiring in 24 instead of 23. Right. Or getting, newer sponsorship artwork for that. So that's not too bad. And then it's just, slow prep for next year. So, any like promotional stuff we need to design, giveaways that we design in-house, jerseys and stuff like that. That's kind of the time to do it now.
Right.
To get it done, obviously, before, the next year. And then once you hit January, that's when it'll ramp up a little bit more. because that's when we'll start to look into, more of like the in-game look that we want to do on the boards. And I know like before this season, we got ahead of a lot of stuff like creating a headshot template, animations, getting ahead of some sponsorship stuff, and getting that out of the way.
Wow. And okay. And so then, like, in terms of what you didn't expect in this role, I mean, is that a lot kind of what you expected, or what did you expect this role to be like?
I guess the things I didn't expect was how graphics heavy it was. So I knew that it would be video stuff, obviously, and the in-game production stuff, like during gameplay. But I would say outside of that, probably like 75% of the work I do is graphic design.
Wow.
And I was probably expecting it to be more of like a 50-50 split. So, I mean, I'm glad that I had the graphic design minor coming out of college, and a lot of what I've learned about graphic design I learned through necessity, needing to complete the projects, which is good.
Right.
And I actually really enjoy it now, so it actually, ended up working out quite well. That was a big thing. And another big thing is how much in minor league baseball is driven by sponsorship. Like, there's a lot we do that, is sponsored. Like, a lot, like pretty much everything you see in the game has some sort of sponsor attached to it because, being in minor league baseball, that's how you're paying, all like a fair amount of your expenses is through your sponsorship. And like some stuff we do, we trade out. So instead of, a sponsor paying us directly, we get something in return for it.
Yeah.
So that's like how we do like our like staff feedings and our pregame meals that we get before the game. So like, XYZ's meats company will, say, hi, I want to, provide food for, 2 games for the staff, and in turn they get their, logo on the video board a couple times throughout the game. So there's stuff like that. And I guess I didn't realize that too much because in internships I had, like I worked with that a little bit, and I was needing to make sure that sponsorship requirements were fulfilled on graphics and stuff like that. But it's something that you don't really consider until you're working in it full time, because with the internships, it's a lot of stuff that, my boss would handle because he was getting it from the sponsorship people and making sure stuff was good to go. But now that I'm working on it a little bit more myself, I'm definitely seeing that a little bit more.
Yeah. And last time I was at a minor league baseball game, I did see that a little bit with the branded doorknobs on all the doors. They were all sponsored by Michelin tires, and so they were all made of
they all look like little tires.
Yeah, they were all made of recycled tires.
That's a good idea.
And actually, a couple of them had nails in them. This of course is not true at all, but that's a good idea. Shout out Michelin tires.
Have you ever been to a minor league baseball game?
Yeah. Well, I over the summer I did a few games. I worked a few games.
That's right.
As a technical directed a couple Frontier League games. For one of the local teams, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was talk about jobs that had a lot of things that I didn't expect to go along with that.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I guess
a lot of other duties as assigned.
Well, right. But when I interviewed for that job, the guy had kind of said like, a lot of things are held together with duct tape and bubble gum, and I didn't take that to mean so literally. But when I arrived and the camera lens was literally being held on with bubble gum, then I was like, oh,
here we go.
Welcome
to independent baseball.
Right. Well, to be fair, that was a very good experience. I did like everyone there, I will be doing more games with them next year. So I don't want people to think it's a negative experience at all, because it really was a positive one. But
that's good.
It was a little bit different, than directing games that like I was used to, because obviously in school we had a very nice setup. I mean, comparatively to, I'm sure, some other schools. And so because of that, I feel we were kind of spoiled in the fact that we had so much gear that to go and like all of a sudden now not have that and to switch from a computer, which is fine. I mean, I can do that, but it was just like, oh, okay, this is interesting,
Now it also really teaches you how to like I don't want to say work with what you have, but adapt to your surroundings and stuff like that, So yeah, you can like work on the big stuff, but you can work on, stuff of any level, which I think is a good skill to have.
Yeah, and I like I said, I would do it again, and I really like that. I recently we did a couple games at the end of the year because before that I really wasn't a big baseball fan, and
Okay.
so I didn't know what to expect when they decided. Okay, when I was graduate assistant, they decided they want to do some baseball games, and I didn't not know what to expect with that,
Yeah.
and I did. I mean, I enjoyed it, and that made me actually kind of like baseball a little bit more than I used to, and want to be more involved and work more baseball games, and that's what made me go out and seek that technical director position. Was
Yeah.
doing those few games and stuff, and being like, oh, this actually is, kind of fun, baseball can be kind of long and drawn out, as I'm sure you're well aware.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but it made the time go by fast, and it was a lot of fun, and I did enjoy that more than I thought I would. So that was really good.
Yeah.
But now in terms of other jobs that you've had, I mean,
Yeah.
you've ran the gauntlet of creative
Have
internships, and I mean,
Oh gosh.
more so than I have. I mean, I had the one internship, you had a few.
Yeah.
Talk me through your first one of your internships and what you kind of expected with that, and if it was, because I think a lot of people, at least in college, some of the kids that I am familiar with are looking for internships already. I mean, it's looking for next summer. I mean, they want to get internships, and I didn't know what to expect as an intern, and so I mean, what were the two? Because you had two internships, right?
I mean, like 2.5.
Well, the COVID one doesn't. We're not going to count the COVID.
Yeah, that one, like, I didn't get much out of that one, so I don't know if we count that one or not. Two actual internships.
Yeah, we'll call it two.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about them a little bit before on the show, but I mean, why don't you give like a brief descriptions for people who maybe didn't hear that episode, and then maybe what you expected from each one, and if it met your expectations or not.
Sure. So the first one I did was with a Frontier League team in Southern Illinois, who is coincidentally not around anymore. They folded after 2022.
They folded because you left. That's why you.
Oh no, they folded after 21. I got my years mixed up. Folded after 21.
And when were you there?
Summer of 19.
So again, they folded because you left. They're like, oh no,
sure,
Reid's gone. What are we gonna do? Oh God.
Sure. I guess that was like, so that was my first internship, like, and first real world industry experience.
Folded like some cheap origami. That was the joke I was looking for.
What?
Continue. Nope.
Oh, okay.
That was
I
the
got
joke.
you.
It was a swing and a miss. Another baseball reference.
Yeah.
Continue.
I think my burnout joke landed better than that one did.
Okay, bud. All right. No.
So that was my first internship experience, and I really didn't know what to expect, so I was going into it very, like, open-minded and just being able to take whatever I could out of it. And I ended up learning, like, a ton from it. It was, it was the internship that set me down the path of sports and, creative work, because at the time, the college we went to was really good with getting you exposed to like radio, TV, sports, news, all in your first year. So I really didn't know what to do, and I was putting out a ton of applications, kind of regardless of what it was, near, far, sports, not sports, small, big. And that was the only one that came back and wanted me. True story. And I don't know, I just kind of took that chance. I'm like, I either take this opportunity and learn what I want to do, or I take this opportunity and learn what I don't want to do,
Right. And that's a good way to look at it too, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. But I ended up going to that, I had a great boss, the one that I'm working under now still, super supportive, and a boss that understood that an intern isn't there just to be an employee under you, but an intern is there to learn new skills and, enhance their education that they're getting at college. Because I think a lot of bosses, I don't want to say a lot of bosses, but, there's definitely that stigma around interns that, they're just there to do, like, I can't say it because we're trying to keep this clean, but the busy work, and like the coffee runs, and we need like we need help here, so you're doing this today, and my boss there, understood that, yes, we are there to help him throughout the season because he's one person in his department, but we're also there to learn and to take things back to college and grow from there. So he was really good about giving us a lot of opportunities to, work on a wide variety of, projects and stuff like that. So that was really good. My second one, it was a photo intern with a Northwoods League team, so Collegiate Wood Bat, summer of 21. And that one, it wasn't bad, but it was like going from independent baseball to Collegiate Wood Bat is an interesting step, because
is it a step up or step down? I'm not really familiar with the ranks.
I would say a step down.
Okay.
Because I think that team has a front office of like 6 to 8 people max.
Oh.
And the independent team I was with maybe had 12 to 15 full-time employees.
Right.
So that Woodbat team I was with, their intern class was 40 or 50 people.
Oh.
Because they had,
wow,
30 of them were they did a rotation between concessions, stadium ops, and like promotions.
Okay.
So they would rotate throughout the season. I was a photo intern, so I was just shooting photos the whole time. And that very much was like, it was good for me, but like they didn't have a full-time photographer there that I could learn off of, So it was very much a learn from doing. And, that ended up working out well for me because I'm able to learn that way. And I already like knew how to shoot sports and stuff like that. So it was just kind of more of a portfolio builder for me.
Right.
Which, worked fine. But I think had I had them at different times, I don't know if I would have went down the same path. Because I'm not saying that like the second one didn't leave like a bad taste in my mouth or anything like that about the sports industry. But I think my first one was a much better kind of introduction and welcome into it than the second one.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, yeah. I kind of had a similar experience to your first one, I guess, in that with the radio station, because I started as an intern there. And it very much was an atmosphere of like not intern tasks. I mean, you were the intern, but like they made you feel like very welcome, and like one thing that I really appreciated about them is like, we did a lot of, as you say, busy work to keep it clean. And stuff like that. But we also were given the opportunity to learn from pretty much anyone that we wanted to. I mean, they basically said the door is open to shadow anyone that you want, at a radio station, one of the largest in the third largest market in the country.
Yep.
And so like the ability to do that and learn from that talent and learn from pretty much everyone was great, but also like being part of the promotions team and working with the creative team, they really tried to involve us in the creation of content, whether that is helping film podcasts or whether that's, helping film a video or a commercial they might be filming, or even just like really they created an environment that allowed us to be creative as well and try and create our own kind of content and create our own stuff. And they might not always have used it, which they certainly didn't, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that they were like, you on company time should try, they encouraged us to create our own stuff. And
they still gave you those time and resources. Yeah.
Right. And so the fact that they did that and were willing to then sit down with you and be like, okay, we like this, but here's 15 different ways we think you can improve it,
Yeah.
and sometimes it was like that, but that's what I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting so many people at that radio station to be so kind to interns and accepting to us, and kind of basically, I mean, everybody, whether it was the general manager of the station seeing you in the hallway, I mean, everybody knew. I mean, there wasn't that many employees. There was like 80, 90 employees maybe, which is a lot.
Sure.
But everybody knew, like, talent knew our names. Everyone knew each other's names. It was very much like everyone said hi in the hallways. It was a great atmosphere. And
yeah, that's good.
You hear stories about how talent can be divas sometimes,
Yeah.
or like famous people can be kind of different off air. And with the group of people that we had there really wasn't any of that. I mean,
that's good.
Everyone, some people were more well-liked than others, but even the people that maybe weren't liked as much were still super nice to anyone who asked questions or wanted to learn. And that's something that I really appreciated out of that radio station, was that ability to ask questions and people willingness to share their knowledge, because they've been in the business 30, 40 years and we're just starting out.
Yep.
And that was something that I was really passionate about, is radio, and some of the other interns maybe weren't as much, where they maybe are just there to earn a paycheck. I mean, they like it, but they didn't. Yeah. And I think they could tell that I was really into what was going on, and I appreciated that they were then willing to get back and work with me and sit with me and let me sit with them during their shows and just watch, and be in the room, to just absorb some of that. It was really respectable that they went ahead and did that for me and for anyone else who wanted to, so.
I think one thing I really liked from both my internships as well is that at the end of them, they both did exit interviews.
Oh.
Not only like apart from the paperwork that needed to be filled out to get credit and stuff like that if needed for that, but I think one thing that was like really like cool to see, I guess, was that both of them asked what I thought about the experience and how they can improve it to make it better.
Yeah,
and I think that shows that you're just not there to do the busy work.
Right.
And that they both care that you're actually learning something and getting something out of it, and, those are both internships that, when I was looking for jobs, I reached out to both of them and they both offered, help in finding stuff. One, obviously helped me get the job I have now.
Right.
But it's good when you find places like that actually care about their interns. And, like I didn't go to that photo internship, and they didn't view me just as someone that came in, took photos and then, was done at the end of the summer. They wanted to make sure that I was still getting a good experience out of it, even if it didn't quite have, the same kind of like teachable, atmosphere as the other one did, So they were still conscious of that, which was really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, that really also put things into perspective for me down the line, where it's like, if I have to deal with, no matter who I'm dealing with, you got to be nice to everybody, and because you never know who's going to be running the show someday, and
exactly,
so whether that's the intern or whether that's the guy sweeping the floor at night, like you really, it means a lot that people will take the time to learn your name and really make you feel welcome and have that kind of open environment where collaboration is encouraged, and it's a very much a friendly environment to work in. So
well, that's also like it's something that I've been thinking about more and more as I've been working more and more full time, almost how if I once I get in like a director role, because that's something I'd like to be in eventually, how will I run something like that when I'm in charge of it, if it's interns or whatever form it may come in, like how do I want my internship program to be run if I'm the one that's in charge of it? And I think going through that experience, I learned a lot of, like what it takes to run a successful intern program as well. So I think that's always good stuff to take from as well. Because in the creative industry, it's natural to move up, and eventually you'll have some people working under you, and it's always good to think about it from that perspective as well.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that it's good to just have that in mind as we move forward in our career, no matter what the field is. That's creative field, that's any field. Good advice,
Exactly,
for everyone.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was pretty good. That was a good discussion, I feel like.
Yeah, I like that.
Before we end, I want to go through our response that we got from last week's podcast
response.
episode.
Woo!
Response
Let's
singular.
not make it plural because we don't need to.
Nope. The question last week, do you remember what it was? Without looking. Don't check. I see you looking. Do not look. Do you remember what it was?
I'm not. It was what do you do to avoid burnout, right?
Yes. Deal with or prevent burnout. And we did get one response. I lean on my family and friends. I also make time to do what I enjoy, like reading, watching TV, lounging. I had to sound that word out. Lounging. And or socializing. So
I thought when you started with Eileen that was the person's name.
No. Come on, Eileen. What the heck? No, get it? Come on, Eileen. Come on, Eileen.
That's a good song. There's also a great clip about that song from an Australian news station that's
not
friendly to share.
Nope.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nope. Yes, I do.
That's
not a lot.
clip,
We're not talking about that. You're cutting that out, buddy. All right.
It's fantastic. I didn't say anything about it.
You're cutting it down. Nope.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. Eileen. Irene.
Well, what should our question be this week, Logan?
That is a good question. I feel like the go-to for the previous episodes has been just to phrase it around the common topic of the episode, which was what was something unexpected about your job or something about your job that you were not expecting. How do we like that?
Yeah, I like that.
What is something about your current job or past job that you weren't expecting when you got hired?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Good or bad?
Good or bad. I feel like it doesn't matter. Good or bad, the worse, the better, I feel like.
We talked a lot about a lot of good stuff, but I honestly, I don't know if any of the jobs or internships I've had have had bad things I didn't know about them.
Yeah, I could talk about a few,
which I am very glad of.
Experiences. Briefly, I before I got hired as an intern for the radio station, I was going to intern with a certain place. I don't want to even say where it was at, but I was going to intern there. It was
that was so
food.
Vague.
It was like a food company, okay, where they served food.
A restaurant?
Yeah, not really a restaurant. It was like at a place,
A prison.
No. I was going to be their intern.
You were going to be a lunch lady.
I basically, lunch lady land. No.
Oh,
yeah.
I know what this is.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
okay. I'm connecting the dots. I gotcha.
Yeah, and so I basically got hired, and I was under the impression I was going to be doing essentially what I'm doing now, making content, making videos, promotional videos for social media, stuff like that. But it turned out that I was going to have to do a lot of polo wearing, stand at events, and get people to review the food. And stand for hours at these events that they would have, and nobody else would. It would just be a bunch of people. No one else from the company would be there, so it would just be me
weird.
Awkwardly standing there with
Hi, would you like to
form.
try this chicken?
Yeah, and then I'd have to take picture, get people to fill out a photo release and take their picture eating the food. It was super not at all what I wanted it to be.
That is bizarre. Yeah.
It was very bizarre, and needless to say, that did not last very long. Thank goodness I got the internship at the radio station.
Yeah.
Because that ended rather abruptly. But
that's why, folks, you ask questions during job interviews.
This is a big fact. And I never really got interviewed. I kind of got recommended to that job.
Yeah, okay.
I don't really blame that. I mostly blame myself for that, mostly because I was just desperate at the time.
That's fair.
That's all right. But You have been listening to A Lot About a Little. This is episode number 16. We are on social media, all sorts of social media platforms. Reed.
Instagram and TikTok at A Lot About a Little. And on YouTube, just A Lot About a Little.
Just A Lot About a Little. Not the word just.
Oh, I mess it up. The Instagram and TikTok is at A Lot About a Little pod. Oh, man. I was so focused on getting the YouTube right that I messed up the other two.
That's actually really funny. I was going to say, I was like, those don't sound right, but I trust you because you say these every week, so you must have them written down.
No, I need to put like a massive sticky note on my monitor that just says socials.
You should just post it right on your forehead.
Oh, gosh.
I think the next person to get one of these wrong, whether one of our social media handles, we'll have to write it on our forehead for an entire video episode.
I'm the only one that says the social handles.
I know, so it'll just be you who gets it wrong. I love that.
Oh, no.
All right.
Gosh.
Well,
I do not. Oh, boy.
A Lot About a Little pod on Instagram and TikTok. A Lot About a Little on YouTube, for the full video version, uncut.
Yeah.
And a little bit of extra sauce with the YouTube version. So check that out. Sauce us a subscription. Another sauce reference. I love extra sauce in that pasta visual. All right.
What?
Well, that's a hockey thing.
That's our sign to end the episode.
That's our sign to end the episode. All right. Till next time. We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.